if Democrats want to know how to win, if they want to know what is a real threat to the Republicans, they should look at what kinds of moves Democratic politicians are making that get Republicans' undies in a twist. And nobody is riling up the Republicans more than Jon Ossoff right now. His comments the other day have Republicans in an absolute tizzy. They are freaking the F out, just melting down all over social media, in news interviews, on Twitter. They're flopping around, screaming and crying and clutching their pearls with faux outrage all over the internet. And at first I thought, like, I'm not going to cover this story. I don't really want to talk about Donald Trump. And then, I thought about it a little bit, and I think actually this is quite newsworthy. This is worth dissecting. So Jon Ossoff made this dig. He took a little jab at Donald Trump and his assistant Natalie.
They've lied nonstop about this war like they lie about everything. And they know they're lying, but they lie, and they keep lying anyway, because in this White House, they view persistence in deceit as a virtue. You hear me, Atlanta? And there's something uniquely despicable about lying a nation into war. Treating citizens as fools and those who serve as pawns. Aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln, they've now been at sea for 240 plus days without a port call. It's a Navy record. And still they serve with excellence. And while the sailors on the Lincoln fight his war, while he fruitlessly drains our munitions and oil reserves, the president sleeps through his meetings. He golfs and trades stocks. See, he doesn't want to do the job.
First off, whoever Ossoff's speechwriter is, give her a big fat bonus. That was so well written. But wait a minute, he didn't say anything about Donald Trump's assistant, Natalie Hart, in that speech. Oh yeah, that's because so much of mainstream media initially clipped off the end of that speech. I had to go hunting for it. It's weird how it's simultaneously been suppressed, I guess, because Dear Leader's really mad about it, but also how Fox News is talking about what he said incessantly without showing the clip. I know that was MS Now, but that was the first piece that they put out about this speech, and they cut it off right before the best part. Here's how he concluded that segment, which has Donald Trump and all of his acolytes, all of his sycophants, absolutely enraged.
And while the sailors on the Lincoln fight his war, while he fruitlessly drains our munitions and oil reserves, the president sleeps through his meetings. He golfs and trades stocks. See, he doesn't want to do the job. He wants to build his ballroom and travel with Natalie on their apparently defenseless flying palace gifted by the Emir of Qatar.
There we go. That's the zinger. So good. And initially I was like, okay, this is pretty witty, but is there something more here? Is this worth me making it right? I'm trying to be more discerning about what kind of political content I cover. And then all of the right-wingers on Twitter had an absolute freak out. Right, and this was a thing that then all of Trump's typical bulldogs had a meltdown about, trying to claim that Ossoff is disparaging women in politics, or like trying to say that the only reason Natalie has her position, or any woman would have their position close to the president, is because they slept their way there. That's not what Ossoff was saying at all, right? Like, they're just grasping at straws. They're reaching so hard because they're trying to find any ammunition to make Ossoff look bad. But the thing is, you guys, like, the more they talk about it, the more people were like, oh my God, that was such a sick burn. That was so well done. And I think it actually was really strategic of Ossoff and his speechwriters, of his team, because, Republicans, the CIA, everybody's been really concerned about this woman who basically is like deep in the cult of MAGA and has worshipped Donald Trump. There was footage that came out about Natalie Hart from 2024 that shows that she basically writes Donald Trump's Truth Social posts, his bleats, or whatever you want to call them. She does anything and everything for him. People have speculated that she changes his diapers or whatever. She worships him. It's really weird. The kind of unfettered access that she has to him. And Ossoff and his team knew that not only would this get Trump really riled up, because he's very protective of Natalie, he has that weird relationship with her. And so, because as a malignant narcissist, he doesn't really care about her as a person, but an attack on her is perceived as a slight or an attack, a dig on him. So he's going to get real mad about it. And then all of his, sycophants have to perform their loyalty test where, because Trump is mad, they have to be outraged on his behalf. And so Fox News has just been covering this nonstop, but that's exactly what Ossoff wants. He wants all of the Fox News viewers to see how creepy and weird this relationship is between Donald Trump and Natalie Harp. Like, he wanted Fox News to be talking about it, and now they are, right? He got them. He hoodwinked them, right? He got them to do exactly, he manipulated them beautifully.
People talk about it. He wanted us to talk about it. He wanted the media to talk about it, and look what happened.
I just want to mention that Maggie Haberman, who recently wrote the book Regime Change, right? She said, I'm not going to get into what Ossoff insinuated about her that goes beyond our reporting. So the woman who just wrote the most prolific book about him says, must.
That's not what Maggie Haberman said, and Maggie Haberman is out for Maggie Haberman's career, right? I've already said my piece about Maggie Haberman. But it's not just the Fox News talking heads who are faux upset about this because they think that it's going to derail Ossoff, and it's not. It's having the opposite effect, right? It's also the establishment media like CNN and MS Now. How much have I said that corporate legacy media has platformed and sane-washed fringe right ideology, has normalized, has given credibility, credence to Republican talking points, including Republican outrage or faux outrage. And so we see these CNN folks who are trying to say, like, oh, Senator Ossoff, did you go too far? Did you do too much? Like, why are they legitimizing this position from the right?
I think the freak out. I mean, I've rarely seen the White House in this kind of form. And I can imagine that some of it has to do with, this is actually somebody who's legitimately very important to the president, which kind of speaks to what Jon Ossoff's saying.
The follow-up there from the senator should have been an apology, because I agree. It was below the belt. The reason for the freak out,
You work for Donald Trump.
You work for
Donald Trump. How dare you say anything is below the belt when you work for Donald Trump in the White House?
The reason for the freak out by the Trump administration is because it was below the belt. Staff was drawn.
What about all the things
Jon Ossoff ran for office. Donald Trump ran for office. Criticized them, put a spotlight on them, talk about them.
She's a government first name.
She's a government staffer.
She was on the plane with him when they left Turkey. He just mentioned it. She's a private person.
There's no crime. She's not a private person. If you want
Her name has never been on a ballot.
if you want to be traveling to
Okay, that's enough of that. This is why I don't like Abby Phillip. CNN platforms these folks, sane washes them, and then they want you to get all wound up with this debate, bro, right? Like fighting back and forth. They want you to pick a side. They want you to keep watching. We're not going to keep watching. But it's not below the belt. And Natalie Harp is not a private person. She is a public official. She is paid by the American taxpayer. She is a public official working in a public position for the President of the United States. And the jab was not really at Natalie, the jab was at Trump. And I think we all know that. They're trying to manufacture this outrage. They're trying to say that he went too far. And I guess, no, it shouldn't surprise me. I don't even know why I need to ask. Like, corporate legacy media is giving legitimacy to this claim. I don't think that any voters are buying this shit that they're shoveling.
Context, if you don't know, what do you make of Ossoff's comments and the reaction to it?
I think Ossoff went too far, actually. Trump has been known from the beginning of time, including his television show, his business at the Trump Organization, his involvement in beauty pageants. He always surrounds himself with attractive young women. And for somebody running for office to make that an issue amongst all the other problems, to point that at, I can think of a lot more.
Donald Trump, who was found liable for sexually assaulting a woman. Donald Trump, who's listed in the Epstein files more than anybody except Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump, a PDF file, is not relevant to talk about the creepy way he treats women and how he likes to surround himself with women who are much younger than he is.
Why'd you decide to invoke Natalie Harp specifically in that speech?
We're in wartime. The commander-in-chief has mired us in this geopolitical disaster. People have lost their lives. Our naval logistics are frayed. The global energy system is in crisis. And he retreats into this bubble of West Wing aides who are his security blanket to make him feel good about himself, to reassure him that he's doing a great job, to help him while he designs his new ballroom and he adorns the Oval Office in gold and picks the interior decorations on this new luxury flying palace he received from a foreign prince. When every single minute of every single day, what the President of the United States should be doing is bearing his most solemn burden of care for the sailors and Marines and aviators and all service members deployed on his orders on the basis of his lies to this disaster in the Middle East.
You specifically mentioned her, and I just wonder why.
Well, I've heard this particular aide referred to as his security blanket. And I think we could say that about any number of the senior aides in the White House. They're not telling him what he needs to hear. They're telling him what he wants to hear. And the nation is at war, and we cannot afford that. We need a team in the White House. We need folks at the State Department, at the Defense Department, in the United States Congress who take their jobs seriously. Those sailors out on the Lincoln, they do their jobs with excellence and dedication every single day. They didn't sign up for luxury. They signed up to defend the country. And the president, surrounded by enablers in the West Wing, is playing golf, is trading stock, and is decorating his ballroom. It's a disgrace. This is why you saw the kind of furious response from the White House to my criticism over the weekend, is because we're dealing with a president who has utterly and undeniably failed at his most core and central obligation as commander-in-chief. They lied us into war. And by the way, no one cares about their hurt feelings in the West Wing. They lied us into a war that they don't know how to end, and they don't know how to win.
So the lesson here for all Democrats is look at what Ossoff is doing. Look at how scared of him Republicans are. Their outsized reaction is indicative of how much of a threat they know Ossoff is to their power and corruption. So take notes.